You're watching Every Day's a Saturday, USCC veteran. Let's go, baby. And here's your host, Brian. And what's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining another great day, another great interview. I am absolutely stoked for my next two guests that we have on the show. And they actually both have been on the show prior. I had one of them on season 2, and the other one was just recently here on season 3. So I'm excited to have them both here because they both have an amazing mission that I stand firmly behind as well. But before we do, you know how we do. Just hope everybody's out there having an amazing day. You know, if you guys are out there struggling, don't forget there's always 988 and press 1. You know, and also if you need to, you can email me at everydaysasaturday365@yahoo.com. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, give me an email as well, and we'd love to have you on the show. You got something you want to talk about, or maybe you got a nonprofit or something like that you really want to share, come on down. We'd love to have you. But let's not keep our next guest waiting too long. These guys are doing something absolutely amazing, and it's kind of new in the era of what is going on, and there's a lot of taboo behind this topic and things like that. And I really love to see that these two are coming together to educate and show others that there's other alternative methods for ways to medicate holistically, and things like that. And when Doc came to me, I was totally stoked about his idea, and I was so stoked. I was like, dude, man, I'll not only just help you with it, I want to, produce it and be in the background and help you guys along the way. And that's exactly what's going on. These guys are already on season 3 and here to talk all about Sick Call with Doc and what they got going on. We got Rod, Doc, Walbecq, and Joe Misfit Glenn. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, brother?
Woo! This is kind of it's a little different because I'm used to just throwing you guys out there and just sitting in the background and just kind of hanging out, doing what I want,
Now it's all on you,
I
kid.
can't be picking my nose or anything crazy, shit. I got to be like, yeah.
Well, thanks for having us on, Brian. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Absolutely. I love you guys. We have practically became family, man. And we spend a lot of time together. At least like this, we spend a lot of times in these squares together. And get a lot of conversations beyond the show, and we've really got to know each other, and it's been an awesome journey with you guys and getting to know you guys. And man, I would die on the hill with you guys no matter what. And like I said, I've been honored to be a part of Sick Call with Doc, and it means a lot to me because I've been using cannabis for a while as my way of medicating and handling all my ailments mentally and physically. And a lot of times it's been a struggle with family members, or even sometimes your friends kind of get judged. So sometimes you're out there trying to sneak it, put on the cologne, wash it up, little Visine maybe. It's always kind of been that way. So it's kind of nice that we're starting to try to normalize it. And especially when it comes to our veteran brothers and sisters, and a lot of them are using pills and other things that are really destroying their body. Yeah. And now we're finding, hey man, there's a lot of medical things and stuff like that associated with cannabis. You don't just have to smoke it, you can ingest it. There's just there's topical, there's all kinds of different uses, right? And you guys are now bringing that all together and have a mission, and it's just been a beautiful mission. You guys are already on season 3, but Doc, let's go ahead and talk about how it even began, and and where we're going with this, man. Let's go.
Well, we're already so further ahead than I ever thought we'd ever would be. Where's this
Right.
going? I don't have an answer for that, brother. That's just,
we just set sail and we're out in the big ocean, man. Right?
Yeah.
I've reached all my goals 1,000 times over already just by having two and a quarter seasons done. So we're way past where I ever believed it to be. Uh, you know, I 9/11 happened, and I was a Desert Storm era veteran. I got out in '93, and just raising family and 2 jobs and 3 car notes, and when 9/11 happened. So I was still young enough to get back in, but I just the money wasn't there. Like there's no way I could reshape my life to serve again. And then so I stayed a civilian. And always wanted to do something to help the young kids younger than me that were coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And the problem was, and we all know it, life gets in the way. And always wanted to join the VFW, and wherever I lived, I was checking out the local VFWs, and I just never did it. And then a few years back, I went to a VFW here local, real close, became a member, and got in there and realized there's no Iraqi or Afghanistan veterans at the VFW. And talked to a guy who's there who was involved with lots of VFWs in the area, and he just said, "Dude, they don't come here. They don't go to VFWs." And I learned the reason that is because the younger generation veterans are looking for way more than crying in their beer. They're looking for college. They're looking for daycare for their kids while they're trying to get used to being a civilian again. For the first time, really, because when you're a kid, that's not really, you can't really count that.
Right.
But to be an adult in a civilian world for us is incredibly challenging. And so I'm like, okay, so now this isn't where I help, right? And then I was also told that there's a lots of Afghan Iraq organizations, but if you're not one of them, they don't let you in. I'm like, okay, so I go to a place where I can get in, and they're not there. So let's go where they are. Oh, they won't let anybody but themselves in. So like, okay. So fast forward, I'm in veteran groups on Facebook, all veteran only groups. And then I find there's cannabis veteran only groups. And that's where this whole thing stemmed from. So the Veterans Canada Community, Vets Grow for Vets Facebook group. That's where I met
Patriots
Joe.
Helping
It's where I
Vets.
met Brian. It's where I met
Yep.
everybody. So it wasn't for being in those groups, I'd have never met you all, and this wouldn't be happening. So in this new day and age, all these podcasts, it's the new media. No one's watching CNN or Fox anymore.
Right.
Everybody's getting their younger people. I just turned 60. So the younger generation, they're here. They're not on the tube. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I was a corpsman in the Navy, and I just wanted to take my knowledge of the cannabis thing and give veterans an alternative to the pills and the suicide and the alcohol and the suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where this all stemmed from. When I got the idea for Sick Call with Doc, people came to Sick Call, man, to get healed. So let's heal. But let's heal in a different way. Joe and I used to push the medication.
Mm-hmm.
We were on that other side.
Yep.
Right.
And we learned that is not the side to be on. Yes, there are meds that you need to help yourself. You can't get around them. If you got an infection, you need an antibiotic, guys. I'm sorry. You need them. Certain things. But the key is prevention, and that's by living a better lifestyle, being more holistic. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's where it all stemmed from. And then meeting. So I knew that Brian had every day is a Saturday. he does podcasts.
You've been on my show already at this point. You had
Yeah,
already been on my
for the
show.
business side, yes.
Yep,
Not
right.
for the veteran side. And so I hit you up and said, look, I want to do this thing called Sick Call with Doc, where we can bring some veterans on, give them a chance to tell their story and how cannabis has not just saved their life, but has propelled their life. Because I'd seen it in the groups with the people we were talking to.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for cannabis, this. If it wasn't for cannabis, that. And I thought, well, there we go. That's how we can help. We'll shed light. We'll educate. So once you said, fuck yeah, we're going out, we'll do this. I also was on one of the calls with the group, and I'm like, I need another medic. And I may have my story backwards. I think maybe I got with Joe first and then got with you. I don't know. But I need another corpsman or medic or somebody to kind of balance this. And maybe they got some technology, younger medic who's got technology. And I thought, well, and I knew Joe already. I already knew he was a combat medic, and the guys are like, Joe. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't believe I didn't think of that. So I hit up Joe. Joe's like, yeah, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we won't. And after some thinking and talking with his number one, got the call. Let's talk about this more. And then Joe was on, and to have a Navy Corpsman peacetime guy, having an Army medic combat guy, and having a devil dog on the buttons in the back, this thing's got to rock and roll, and it did. And we're so grateful, and we're helping veterans. We are helping veterans.
Absolutely.
A little bit to some and a whole bunch for others. It's been way more than I don't know about you, Joe, but
it's been overwhelming. It really has been.
It has. So there's the story of how it all got to go.
All right, so Joe, we'll kind of talk about when you got looped into it now, and when you can remember when Doc started, knocking on your door, because he did kind of approach me, and I don't think that we kind of started right away. I think we were kind of there was a lot of talk going back and forth before we actually said, all right, pull the trigger. We're going full bore with it. But
right,
Joe, give us your perspective.
I'm pretty sure that the reason it took so long to get started was my fault. So I started giggling as soon as he was like, yeah, we might, because that's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said, bro.
I'm like, oh, come on.
Look, so most people that know me understand I'm disabled, man. I got PTSD. I got all the bullshit that they like to talk about. But one of the biggest things is I don't like to do shit. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody. That's who I am. I want to be hidden. I want to be with my plants. I don't want to deal with shit, right? So as far as therapy goes, because I know I need a shit ton of it, and a lot of us do, my number one was like, look, you need to get your ass out there, right? It's true. I know I should not be hiding, right? I have shit to do. I have things to say, and there's people that can hear them or need to hear them. I know this. And matter of fact, it helps me by getting out and spending that time against my will I don't know, it just helps me kind of integrate back into society. And that's the fact. That's the truth. I don't want to integrate, but I know I need to. And so this is why I'm doing this. And so, or that's why I did it. So I called Rod after talking to my wife and said, all right, let's do this. And Rod was so fucking excited about it. I could hear it in his voice when I said, I don't know, man. He was like, oh, well, shit. I felt that, right? I felt it. I heard it, and it played on my mind. And then with Mama talking, I came back to Rod and I was like, let's do it, bro. Let's do it. Let me help you along. Cause I had a little bit of experience in podcasting, and it wasn't a big deal for me. I was doing better as far as my therapy went. So we did it. And it turned into, I never could have expected what it turned into and what made me become.
Yeah, and you started out being a part-timer. He's like,
yeah,
I'll be the co-host.
Yeah.
I'm not going to host it. I'll be
Right.
the co-host.
It was to the point that I didn't even put him in the first season as one of the hosts because the way Doc kind of explained it is, hey, Joe said he may be able to come in sometimes. He may not be there all the time. So I was just like, okay, well, Damn, that doesn't give me a solid. So, but then, man, I mean, once we started rolling,
Yeah.
After the first season, I was like, dude, we got to add Joe in now too. We got to, fix up season 2. So after season 2, we made sure we added him in as a co-host. And something that I can appreciate with you guys is we kind of we have those times where we end up getting we meet and we kind of start talking about the upcoming season, or hey, maybe we could add this, maybe we could do that, and that's kind of one of the great things too that I feel like that's kind of keeping the show dynamic and keeping it going is you guys keep coming up with ideas. Now whether we're implementing them or not, but at least we're keeping them out there. And we do have an ideal box, right? Like anytime that we want to implement something new, we already have a box getting, ideas thrown into it. So that's the great part about it. Now, was there any doubts in your guys' mind that maybe this wouldn't really turn out the way that it has, and get the response that we have? Was there any doubt in your mind when you first started?
Not in mine. No way. Because like I was saying, I had a little bit of experience in podcasting, and I had actually had a couple of veterans on just telling me their story, talking, shooting the shit. And it was beautiful. Literally, I knew this was going to be a big thing. But I guess, again, I didn't know what all the capacities that I would have in the game. And Rod now has all these different capacities. It's not just us coming on and doing sick call. Generally, it's not about, your terrible weekend and now you need to get fixed, from Doc. This is some serious shit. We talk a lot about mental game, choices, mental game and choices, and just keep moving forward. A lot of these things are what help remind me what I need to do daily.
Right.
And so it's a win-win, man.
I had no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to go into something, kind of.
Joe and I are both 10,000% into helping the veteran, and the other stuff about podcasting is all secondary. We don't even care about that stuff. We should, because we're podcast guys now, but we never meant it to be like that. And I don't think we want it to be like that. But guess what? If we don't get numbers, we can't reach veterans.
Right.
So it's like this double-edged sword. We don't care about numbers, but without them, we're screwed. And if our message isn't on point, if it's not relatable to our viewers, why would they come watch?
Right.
So that's why all the three of us are always brainstorming, what can we tweak to do a little bit better? Should we bring on some different guests outside of the normal everyday guests that we do? And I don't mean that meanly or negatively. I'm just saying, like, we have veterans that come on who tell their stories. It's uncensored. We don't edit or cut. We're here for 5 different reasons. We have a 5-mission thing. And if you fall into one of those 5 things in our mission, we want to bring that to veterans in case it could help them. Right. So, I had no expectations going in, and it's, like I said, it's gone way past what I thought.
And it's like, it's kind of like, we went and, you bought a standard car, and now we've just upgraded the car every time. We've put on some nice rims. We got a nice, stereo system, and I feel like that's just what we keep doing is upgrading, right? And we didn't go in with this luxurious car like already an idea. We kind of had an idea of what we thought it might be, right? And the mission always starts to get different other legs, right? And so the one mission turns into a sporadic of different missions. So that's kind of the awesome thing that this has too. This question is now for both of you guys, and I want you both to answer it. Now, what does this mean for you? Like, what does the show mean to you? And Doc, what is this show? What does Sick Call with Doc mean to you?
It means that there's a chance that I could save a life. I don't know I don't know any other way to put it.
Yep. I know you have a lot of passion about that, right?
Yeah. We bring our bread and butter, so to speak, is bringing veterans on and giving them a voice. and telling other veterans all of the bad things that have happened to them and how they come out of it. And it's not just cannabis. It's not just psilocybin. It's reaching out to other veterans. We've learned, Joe, haven't we? And Brian, you're in the back. You hear every word that's ever said ever. We're getting veterans to start reaching out to each other or any other avenue instead of the gun.
Yeah.
Instead of the alcohol, instead of the pills. There's so much more. And that's why we're talking about mixing things up with Sick How a Doc by bringing on people who are totally into holistic stuff. Yes, bringing veterans on, let them tell their story. That's wonderful. But we should also change a little direction and say, well, here's some other stuff that might help you. It's not a veteran telling their story, but it's somebody who helps veterans. That's their thing. Or it's just good knowledge that any veteran should have or anybody should have. So we need to expand our reach. And if we bring a bigger ball to this, a bigger root ball, we'll get a bigger plant. So that's where we're at now, is we want to make sure we don't get stagnant. We want to make sure that we teach veterans.
Right.
And so with Joe with his Misfit stuff, with growing plants and the holistic thing, the therapeutic thing about plants, we'll let Joe talk about that. Just reaching out to other veterans and having the camaraderie again. Being in the moment by growing or taking care of an animal or having a veggie garden or whatever your gig is. Show other veterans that they are a light. And that light should not be extinguished. It should be gas added to it. And we want to be the gas adding to their flame to go and have a life that they've never thought possible. And Joe and I have seen it over and over. Brian, we've seen it over and over and over again. You can't tell me that cannabis and camaraderie don't mix or help a veteran.
CNC. Camaraderie and cannabis. Woo!
Uh-oh. There's a new podcast.
That might be a good one, man. Camaraderie and cannabis. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. So now your turn, man. What does Sick Call with Talk mean to you, man?
Well, I think for me, it's a little bit different. It's also what he said, but there's more to it for me. Being a 3-time combat veteran, having that, I was a lifer, man. I had 13 years in, I intended on doing 30, not just 20. I wanted to go. I intended to be in the Pentagon, right? That was where I wanted to be. At the end, just anyway. So having all that shit ripped from me when I got hurt in Afghanistan, loving my job as a doc, not being called doc anymore, not being able to do doc shit anymore. Having all these, the TBI and shit like that, having the memory issues, the anger issues, the worthlessness feelings, all these things, right? For me to go in here and talk to an individual veteran that is completely vulnerable, just spilling the fucking beans about themselves, makes me feel like I'm Doc again. Like when I tell him, you know what, brother, it's all going to be okay. Left foot, right foot. We got your back. You're not alone. When I say that shit and their eyes light up, that's therapy, man. That's a feel good. That reminds me that I'm still fucking human, right? Not that soldier that they made me into, not that animal that I could be, right? So it's helping me with my memory issues, because the things that these guys talk about in their day reminds me of shit in my day, which we all need to work through, not forget, folks, right? And so being able to counsel, being able to mentor as far as the therapies of growing enhances my therapy when I do it by myself. It gives that beautiful avenue of approach to someone else that may not have had that and may not even ever thought of it. To be present, like Rod had touched on, being present is one of the biggest things that our veterans are failing today. You're caught up in your bills. You're caught up in everything that in the end really doesn't fucking matter. All right. It really doesn't matter. And so it gives me the opportunity to say that. And like me and Rod, and I believe, you were in on it too, Brian, is if we can help just one. And I know that we have done that multiple times. And so life is good. Life is good. This has given me opportunity to heal while I help my brothers and sisters heal. And it gives me an opportunity to be Doc, which I so miss. You guys have no idea how much I miss that. I went through the gambit with all these pills. I am here to tell you as a non-commissioned officer, right, which I'm leader of soldiers, and as a medic, a healer of soldiers, I'm here to tell you that these medications are killing us. And it's not that they're killing us the first time out. It's killing us because we're taking them for years.
Taking a slow drip. It's like taking a slow drip, man.
Everything in moderation, including your medicine. Those medicines are made for you to have something for a week or two to get better and then move the fuck on. And here we are. Polypharmacy, 30 plus pills, taking them multiple times a day. It's dead wrong, folks. And the doctors are just telling you and feeding you. I don't have a fancy degree. Sure don't. But I'm the one that's going to sit here and hang my ass out on the line and tell you that these people are killing you. And so it gives me all these opportunities, guys. And so it turned out to be way more than I ever expected. So, yeah, that's what it means to me, bros.
Right. That's outstanding. And, I love it because, like you guys said, and Doc, said it right off rip. He, if he could just say if one person reaches back out to me and from this show, I know I did something. And that we know that's happened, right? Mm-hmm. So, matter of fact, I think we didn't even release the first show, and you had reached out. We had talked about it, or even sent a message. I don't even know, or maybe it was after the first show. I don't remember, Doc, but I know that someone had reached out to you, and that's outstanding. Now, for you guys, I know you guys are always looking for more guests, right? That's always something. We would love to have more people. Who would be the ideal guest for you guys to have on the show?
Man, I have no preference. It's about the person.
But what kind of guests we looking for? You know what I mean? Like, what
I want somebody that I guess I don't know just yet. That's kind of a tough one. I want somebody that's willing to get out there and share their story, be a little bit vulnerable amongst friends, amongst family, because that's how I treat everyone. And somebody that wants to heal. You got to need to want to heal, man. You got to have that.
Right.
Nobody can help you if you're not willing.
Get me ready to reach out.
Yeah.
And that journey can be tough. Healing's a tough journey, man.
It's incredibly tough.
It is a lot of, because there's a lot of self-reflection. There's a lot of ownership. There's a lot of things that you've been, maybe not, you just kind of been trying to avoid that you eventually have to kind of deal with. And you know what I mean? So, and life is rough, right? Yeah. Things are rough. That we do need things out there to help us, level set us, ground us, things like that. And that's why, the natural way of going about things is more of the way to keep yourself grounded. If you want to go lift yourself up into theirs, keep taking them pills, man, because they're just literally taking you off the ground. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of staying with that natural stuff is the way to kind of keep you more grounded eventually. Because even when you start doing some of these over the counter drugs and stuff like that, they can alter your brain. They can alter the way you think. They can alter your mind. They can make you want to end your life. When they're supposed to help you, right? One of the side effects, some of it is, wanting to commit suicide. So, the holistic approach is a lot of people have gotten with the big pharma words of, taboo and, this is bad. You do this, you're going to go jump out of a window and things like that. So, the more that we can have shows like this and normalize it, you know, the better off we'll be. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that won't watch this show just because it's related to cannabis, and they won't even give it a try because all their life they've been taught XYZ, right? And so now they're acting like 1, 2, 3, you know.
I was absolutely against cannabis, man. I didn't smoke cannabis till I was 43 years old.
Right. And he ended up smoking with his kids for the first
with
time,
my children,
who he'd been sitting there pretty much on their ass about it, you know. So
yeah, crazy. Absolutely. And you know, but to sit here and because I'm the guy that comes out with the knowledge about cannabis and what it does for your body and what it can do for your body, right? Yeah. And still people will just, no, that's just ridiculous. No, look at me. Just look at me. I'm telling you, I'm here talking to you. That is a difference right there. That's because of cannabis.
You are everything. You are everything that we're supposed to be about for Sicko Attack.
Hmm?
Yeah, man. And I'm sitting back here and I've got a million things to say to everything you guys are saying. And so there's so much in here to try to get out there to our veterans. We don't reach out. We're always told, stick it inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ask for help, we've got guys who asked for help when they were in and now they're out because they asked for help.
Right.
So why the fuck would they ask for help when they're out?
Right.
But every veteran I ever saw that was ever saved was saved by another veteran by reaching out.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, not to mention that a lot of these veterans, they have, especially the ones that got really injured, there is, how do you say it? There's almost an embarrassment, right? Like I ain't talking about my weaknesses, right? Because we always look at injuries as weaknesses, right? And so a lot of these guys, I ain't trying to talk about my shit. I don't want you to know just how weak I really am. Look, man, and I have always come out here authentic as fuck. Dude, I am 100% total and permanent disabled. Most of my shit is mental. My spine is fucked. My shoulder is fucked. But I come in here and I get therapy while I'm trying to give you guys fucking therapy. You know, everybody needs to understand that by speaking about just getting out little tidbits. I ain't going to judge you. I promise you, I did some of the stupidest shit, some of the things that haunt me to this day. Right?
Can't throw rocks from a glass house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. And so ain't no judgment here. We want those people to come in, feel fucking comfortable, tell us your truth, okay? And get it out. Get it in the universe. Now we can fucking work on it. Now we can heal. Now we can get better and move on forward and get out of that cloud. We're sitting here in this dark ass fucking cloud. No, man. Let me show you the light, baby. Come on.
Come this way.
Yep. That's what's up.
We're here. Come on.
Follow the beacon.
I struggle every day, folks, but here we are. We'll just do it together, man.
And that's the thing, you know. I think a lot of people got to realize that just because we're sitting here on this side doesn't mean that we're perfect. No. Doesn't mean that we're mentally sound and stuff like that. There's times I got to go talk to these guys about things that made me go off the rail. Mm-hmm. Right. You know what I mean? And I still look at it. I still have to go look at these guys as like my, you know, I look at these guys as people I respect and that I honor what they will say. Right. And there's times where I lose my shit and, you know, that's a hard time, right? When we lose it or we're super vulnerable. It's hard to go talk to another man sometimes about yourself. Right. You're like, oh, stop being a bitch, you know? Mm-hmm. You hear all those things back in the day, right? And now sometimes you find yourself like, dude, am I right? Am I wrong? I need someone to level set me because I think that a lot of times we're, you know, when we're trying to find the stability, the instability comes out in us and we don't know whether we're right or whether we're wrong, right? You know, because people make us feel a certain way, you know, and sometimes we got to go back and go back to some like-minded folks and say, hey man, fuck dude, you know, this happened to me. I really lost my shit. Was I in the right? Was I in the wrong? How could I approach this better? You know, it's kind of nice to have mentors to go talk to and stuff like that. And that's kind of what it's, you know, this has become more of just in the show, right? Like there's the behind the scenes things too. You know, we do like about an hour long show and then we almost have like almost an hour long after show. you know, and we've talked about it many times. We needed to restart recording some of these after talks because they really do have some meaning behind them, and we do get heart to heart, and that's why, you know, it's been such a pleasure working with you guys on this venture, and it's going to be amazing to see where exactly it goes, you know. And you know, let's talk about, you know, a little bit of what you guys vision on maybe expanding upon and adding into the show to, you know, to keep it going, right?
Yeah. And I wanted to add, guys, to answer your question fully, who are we looking for? What's our vision? We're looking for veterans who believe that their story will inspire other vets. We're looking for veteran-owned businesses that would like to advertise with us or come on a show and let us promote you, especially if you're helping other veterans in your business. That's key. And then organizations that are helping veterans.
With mental health and
we did it on season 1. We threw in a couple on season 2. I think we should expand that as many times as we can. Yes, bring our veterans on to speak their mind. But there's so many other things that we can bring to the table to help veterans. We would be dereliction of duty if we don't. You know. So that's what we're looking for. We want to expand the horizons of Sick Call with Doc to bring in all kinds of stuff.
Right. It's all about healing. Right. And really the big point about this is how can we help others heal? You know, like everybody has different methods and not every method will work for everybody, but there might be a fraction of something that can help you. And if you put enough fractions together, you might get a full, you know what I mean? Right. So that's the part about it is, and that's why it's important for people to speak it, right? And not be ashamed to speak it. It's okay.
Right.
Because the more transparent we can be and show others things, and it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to own some things and move forward, and it's okay not to be okay. You know, and the more that we talk about this, the more comfortable others will start to say, you know what? Everybody else is doing it, you know, and we live in this world of I see them doing it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I'm going to go do it since they're doing it.
Right. Well, you know, another thing that I think is very important with the whole Sick Call with Doc, we probably touched on it, but it's about damn, I just had a brain fart. See, folks, boom, just gone, man.
Maybe we should take a break on that one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We'll go ahead and take a quick break if you know what. let Joe let that gerbil get back on top.
I don't even remember the subject, bro.
And let an old man hit the head real quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. This is a good time. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Sick Call with Doc commercial, and also a little side gig that Doc does on the side. We'll kind of show that, and when we come back, we'll kind of just sum it up with Sick Call with Doc, and then we'll kind of get a little bit into what are the things you guys got going on besides Sick Call with Doc. All right, so everybody sit tight, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Sick Call with Doc, a podcast dedicated to eradicating veteran suicide. With 22 veterans lost every day, we believe that's 22 too many. Join us as we bring you inspiring stories, heartfelt conversations, and a community that cares. Because no matter what, you are not alone. We were there for you then, and we're here for you now. Follow, like, and share our mission. Together, we can make a difference. Inspiring hope, saving lives.
Hey y'all, Hot Rod Wally here. Finally, a revolutionary nutrient line that puts the needs of you and your plants first. Easy to use, forgiving, tweakable, versatile, and clean. Utopic Essential Nutrients blends only the most refined raw materials, the perfect blend of plant hormones derived from kelp, along with silica and humates, makes Utopic a powerhouse plant food. From commercial industrial growers down to our beloved hobbyists. Come discover our truth at www.utopicessentialnutrients.com. Come get them.
All right, and we are back. All right, so I had one more good question about Sick Call with Doc,
Hey, I
And,
remembered what I was going to say. So
okay.
let me
Oh,
get that in real
boom.
quick.
See, that's why we did it.
I
Let's
wrote it
do
down.
before you lose it.
I wrote it down.
Okay. So what I was going to talk about was with Sick Call with Doc and the people that we get in there, the veterans that get in there. They always talk about, well, basically how it was when they got out of the service, right? And it's always dark. It's always a hard ass transition. And so for that to be said from one veteran and all these other veterans listening, understanding that they're not alone, that they had a hard time too. That's key points right there. And then therapies. When I came into this, I do cannabis. I grow things, and smoke it and eat it and stuff like that's my therapy, right? I've since got into more herbs and roots and things like that. But other people's therapies like music, hunting, fishing, all these different therapies. Well, that is now something that another veteran can say, hey, man, I like music. Hey, I like to fish. It's been a while, but I like to fish. These are ideas for how you can move forward. And these veterans are actually moving forward with these therapies. It's just, it's a no-brainer. It gives people ideas on how to get better. And so that's another part about Sick Call with Doc.
Yeah, and Sick Call with Doc, the group, we actually have a group you can join.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm always looking at reels and coming across things. I'm so much into the veteran stuff when I follow a lot of veteran things. So when I see an organization that's doing stuff, I'll post it right there in the group. I might forget to talk about it on Sick Call with Doc, but it's in the group. And so there's lots of stuff that you can learn from fishing outings with just all veterans, hunting outings, art, artistry stuff. Horses. Whatever your gig is as a veteran, whatever your dream is, we're here to tell you, we're with you. Go get it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And if there's not something out there that you like, start it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
there's a lot of grants and stuff out there for you to start your nonprofits as a veteran. So don't be afraid. That's how a lot of these nonprofits began. Someone wanted something and they made a community out of it. So don't be afraid to do that. All right.
Can we touch on once? Oh, go ahead.
Sure. No, go ahead. No, go ahead, because I have this last question. And then
I wanted to touch on the transition out. It's a big deal because it's as big a deal as joining.
Sure.
In fact, worse. Because what happens when we get out, people, I couldn't figure out what it was for me that I was missing. Lots of vets always say, I didn't know it was missing. I didn't know why, when I got out, it was so lonely. Why I was so distracted from my family and my kids and my friends. And I didn't understand what those things were that were causing it. Then you go to the VA and they fill me full of pills. I can't think straight fucking anyway. Right? And then you're stuck in this thing. They don't teach you how to get out. We lose camaraderie. We lose that sense of mission with our brothers and sisters. We lose that, them always telling us what to do thing. And now you're out and you've never told yourself what to do. Kind of thing. Having your own mission, your own dreams, your own values, your own things that you should be bringing to the table as a veteran, and you can't because they're filling you full of pills. Last thing about transition. They didn't give two shits about us when we were in. What would make you think for 1 second they give two fucks about us now?
Right. And you know what? That's why
there's some truth.
We as veterans become cushions for each other. Right. And the more that we can start educating the ones getting out, because obviously, the big guys up top, I won't mention them. So, because it'll probably get bleeped. But you know what? the ones that say all, it's a shame. It's a big shame to me. They build us up and make us the most feared machine to be reckoned with. When we go into other countries, we have respect.
Oh yeah.
We are trained like no other.
And they know it.
And then they let us get out and they let us fall to the wayside. And the fucking stories are time and time again, man. And it's the percents are too high, and no one's doing shit about it on that level.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Right.
happening now is you got your brothers and sisters who are trying their damnedest, coming up with nonprofits, podcasts, things like that to help the shit, because you know what? The other people that send us and have all these expectations of our fucking social security number, but when we get out, man, that social security number, it's almost like fucking give them pills and then we'll send them down the hill. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want us around because we are freaking become a paycheck for them. But
Right.
you know what, man? They're not doing themselves any service, because everybody that's in there hears about this shit, and then they become part of the fucking statistics when they get out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
They hear about it
Yeah.
before they join. I mean, you can't tell me you don't hear about this stuff,
What-
right? And then we become part of the statistics. That's
Mhm.
just got to go, man, because when people get out, they should be already reformed, not be trying to be reformed as they're already on the fucking streets and already at the rock bottom, and maybe their psych's done, son, because you let them go to the wayside instead of, we got to do better. You know, when they have so much expectations of us while we are in, to the point of, man, you better be there 15 fucking minutes early or you're late.
Mm-hmm.
You better have a clean shave every damn day or you're going to be reprimanded. But gosh damn, bro, when you get out, you know, you become a forgotten social security number that's just part of the system.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you go try to seek some kind of help, they want to deny.
Yeah,
until
now
you
we're the problem.
literally
Now
hit
we're the
fucking
problem.
bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times, man, and I've seen guys that are struggling with their mortgages or something like that. Well, you gotta miss 6 payments before we can help you. What?
Yeah.
What is that, bro? Like, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for them to fail. And
Yeah.
you know that when people got PTSD, you just send them all through all these fucking failure tests. They may not come out of it. And that's a shame, man, because systematically they're sending motherfuckers to the grave.
Yeah. Decommission.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Iraq and Afghanistan
And
veterans.
hold up real quick. They condition us to make us feel a certain way, man. Like, while you're in, right? There's no room for failure. There's no room for this. Don't be a sick body. You can't be fucking sick, lame, or lazy. All these things, and then you get out, and now you're scared because you got all these damn ailments, and then you're scared to go to the VA because you don't want to go through the paperwork, the doctor's appointments, and then we hate being we hate having deny, and then that makes everybody want to quit and give up. It's just sad, man.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
we
really
fought
sad.
we fought for you. Now we got to fight you.
And that's the other part about it is the fight never stops.
Right.
The fight never stops, man. We had to fight while we were in, and then when you get out, you got to start fighting, because if you don't fight for yourself, they sure as shit ain't going to. You know what I mean?
No, they're not.
And the only person that gets hurt is the squeaky wheels. So you got to be a little squeaky to get some oil. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you ain't squeaking, there ain't going to be no oil coming to you. They can give a shit. They want you to stay away from them. At the end of the day.
Before we move on, when it comes to veterans and getting help, all right, especially vets helping vets, that's the only way it's going to happen. First off, the best help you're going to get is from a brother or sister.
Yep.
For the most part. When it comes to vets helping vets, if not us, who? And if not now, when?
Yep.
Right? And our slogan, our motto for Joe and I is, we were there for you then, and we're here for you now. We didn't go anywhere. We're right here to help.
Yep. And since they ain't going to do it, we'll do it.
We have to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We all fought together. Whether you fought on the battlefield or you were just, working side by side while you were in, we were all in the suck together.
Yeah.
You know, and we made shit work, man. It didn't matter where you came from, what your religion, your race, your creed was. And we all came together and we had amazing time, and we became brothers, we became sisters, and in the camaraderie, you never, you know, a lot of people can never understand that unless you've been through it.
It'll never change either. It's always going to be that way. Always has, always was, always will be that way.
Trauma
That's the one thing we
bonding
all
is,
have.
you know, we have trauma bonding like no other, right? And a small percentage of the world gets that trauma bonding training, you know, to can understand, right? Yeah. And that's why sometimes we can be, you know, kind of put on the side and on the back burner as, oh, that guy's an asshole, he's mean, he's, you know, because in a lot of us, we don't have gray areas, right? We're pretty black and white with we can be blunt and stuff like that, right? But anyways, we can go on and on about all this stuff, but real quick, before we kind of move on, who was your most memorable guest for you, Doc?
Wow, that's a toughie, dude.
Not necessarily like your best guest, just your most memorable one that like kind of like, man, that one really stood out to me, and it just kind of, you know, maybe it changed your perspective on something or shed light on something for you.
Yeah, not to lessen any other
no,
episode.
And that no, right.
Tommy Staten and his son.
Yeah, that was a very inspirational one.
Just bringing their names up.
Right.
For a guy who has gone through so much and has so much on him, to have the courage to know that his story would affect other veterans and help them in a positive way. And for him to show that courage was just incredible to me. And then his boy, his full-time caregiver, we made an honorary corpsman because that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
A complete
we had a lot of
for his
first
patient.
on that show. Yeah, there's a lot of first on that episode. And
so that one just stands, again, no less to anybody else. It was just for him to have the attitude that he has. Like, he lightens your fucking day, and he's full of stuff going on from, I mean, just go watch the episode and you'll know what I'm talking about. What an amazing human being. The fact that he considers me a good boy, a good buddy and stuff, I am honored.
Yeah. Super inspirational show. That was the first time I think we ever really kind of had a caregiver on the show. And it was really nice to hear that perspective from the caregiver standpoint, and also hear how selfless he is, you know what I mean? But you know, and we also touched on what amazing opportunity it is for him and his dad to kind of have this, you know, bond, right? You know, and so that was a really touching and inspirational show for sure.
Yeah, it hit
Joe,
me
what about you, brother?
Man, so I ain't gonna lie, that was the first one that came to my mind, but a close second, if not right there, honestly, would have been Bobby Liberty. I know Bobby, I've known him. He's a clown, man. He's funny. He make you laugh. He make you feel better just inside because, well, he's around. So he's a special individual by himself, but I never would have put the amount of knowledge and intellect that is in that man with the way he operates daily. I would never have guessed that. So to have that kind of a look inside of who he is, along with Tommy and Dakota and a lot of them, there were certain points in almost every one of these that really hit me deeply, especially the ones that were, you know, that we're talking about combat problems, things like that. Those always hit me hard because, man, that's my jam, man. That's where I was. That's what I have problems with. But Bobby Liberty's intellect and insight into certain things blew my mind. Yeah.
And guess what? The cool thing about that is, you know, the first episode we ever did was just me and Joe spilling our guts of who we were.
Yeah.
But our first real guest was Bobby Liberty.
Yeah, man. That was the first. He was the first guest as well.
What a way to get started, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
So what?
I agree. 100%.
9 interviews, the first. So 9 interviews, 12, 21. It's around 25 interviews or somewhere around that ballpark. you know? So, wow, man, you know,
We're trying to reach all these other podcasts out there. Joe Rogan, have us on. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It'll help us reach more veterans. And that's the only thing Joe and I give two shits about.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, there's not a lot of shows out there like your guys's right now, you know. And so that's what's really awesome about this is it's kind of a groundbreaking thing. A lot of people don't want to touch it, right? Because not all states are legalized,
Right.
And things like that. So a lot of people sometimes don't really want to get involved in this kind of talk, you know. But
I can't help that they don't know their endocannabinoid system.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know the truth about cannabis by now, how do I help you?
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing, you know, and that's one of the great parts. If you really start tuning in and watching the show, is you get a little bit more of the educational side, other than that part of like the things that you heard when you grew up, or you know, things of that nature. Things have come a long way, and we've learned so much about the plant itself and all the healing properties and everything that it has. You know, just do your due diligence, and sometimes do your own research, and don't just go to one source, and make sure you have multiple sources. And once you get a like-minded, you know, consensus on something, then you know that, all right, there's some truth to that.
Yeah, start with an open mind. Start with an open mind and go
100%.
do your own research on cannabis. And if you can't figure it out this dummy did. I mean, if you guys can't do it, I mean, I don't know how to help you.
See, you know, I'm 44 now. And at 44 years old, I have realized that not everything that I was taught was the truth.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
So, you know,
government
propaganda. Don't think that some things that you may think is some kind of a truth to it, maybe it's not so true. You know, sometimes you got to go run the gamut yourself and go do your own homework or do your own things for yourself to go find that out.
And every veteran that we've had on, Huncho, every veteran, most of them never touched cannabis till later, till they were tired of the pills. It's not like they were stoners in high school and smoked during their service and smoked right after when they got out and stuff like that.
Well, just like Joe, you know, Joe is one of those guys, you know, in particular. And, you know, that's the nice part about having him on as one of the co-hosts, because Joe's taken it to another level. He's learned the real science behind the plant, right? Some people kind of just do surface level, and Joe's taking the time to really get deep and you know, beyond the roots. You know what I mean? He's getting down into the main soils. So you know, that's the great thing is, and both of you guys really have make great hosts together, right? Because you know, Joe has kind of that wizardry side to him where he just comes up with that tribal knowledge where it's like, wow, you know, like that's, yeah, you're right, Joe. That's a good one, man, you know, or never heard that before, you know. And then Doc, of course, you always have that charisma and that just, you know, that drive, and you bring that emotion side to it, right? You bring the feelings into it, man. You know what I mean? And you pull into the feelings, and I always can see the passion in you, right? I know that
vulnerability,
this mission really means a lot to you, and you're okay to be vulnerable and show that part of you, that this mission is sentimental.
It's allowed me to be a corpsman again.
Yes. And we know how much that means to you, you know, because that's just, right. He just, you know, he wears that with pride. He wears being a corpsman with pride.
I hang my hat on it, man. I hang my hat on it.
Right. And, you know, once a corpsman, always a corpsman. You know, once a medic, always a medic. These guys.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
You know, when, you know, they want to continue to heal, right? And it may not be physically touching you and healing you, but they're giving you knowledge. They're giving you another way to think about things, right? So just sometimes, like Doc said, be open and listen. Here's some other perspective. Hear how much it's changed someone else's life for the better, right? You know, so if you're someone out there and you're hearing this and you're like, man, it's helped me so much. Come on, come send us, you know, send these guys an email and let's get you on the show. Send me an email and I'll get you guys on the show. But nevertheless, you know, share your stories, guys. Share it. Don't be afraid to share it. You know, don't be afraid. And this may help maybe your family member who might be a little bit on the judgy side and you're afraid to show the real you. I know that. I've lived that life before where I couldn't go to certain family functions because I like to do something that other people didn't like me out, you know, and now everybody else is doing it. Funny part about it. So,
And if anything goes wrong in your life at all, it's got to be because of the cannabis.
that's it, man. And as soon as someone
else.
learns that you do this, everything is because he's just a pothead.
You wouldn't smoke that weed,
you know. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of switch up gears. We talked a lot about Sick Call with Doc. Now we're just gonna briefly touch kind of on the things that you guys got going beyond Sick Call with Doc. You both got some, things that you guys are working on. Doc, you got Utopic Essential Nutrients, and Joe, of course, you got Misfit Farms, and you do some really cool educational videos and things like that. So let's briefly talk about that. Doc, go ahead and plug in the nutrients, man, which I am a user of, and let me tell you, if you want to put some steroids in them, give them a little more oomph, and a little bit like where you literally try to break a branch with your finger and you can't. You got to go get fucking real sharp shears to cut these things, man. I imagine if you put these things outside, you'd have to get a chainsaw to saw that baby down, dude, making some trunks. But go ahead, man. Talk about the nutrients.
People keep calling it plant steroids. I'm like, it's not steroids. Don't use that word. It's like you're at a gym getting pumped up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not that kind of juice, man. Utopic has always been a secondary to this. I try to keep this, and let Utopic be its own thing, and not blend it too much. I don't want people thinking Joe and I are coming from the wrong spot.
Right.
The cool thing I've learned,
you don't ever mention it. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't think unless you're asked to talk about it. So
yeah, and that's the right way to be. I think the cool thing that in my connection with Utopic, with Sick Call with Doc and being with veterans, is that I know for a fact that my nutrients helps veterans grow better medicine. Okay, a doc can't come on here. Yes, I smoke cigarettes. Don't follow my lead. Okay, we all struggle, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that hit that smoke pit.
We're all battling. You know what I mean? We all got our battles. But with Utopic, I know for a fact, and I can sleep at night, that I'm providing a plant food that you can use on your plants to grow better, more and better medicine. And so that's how I blend it with being with veterans and Sick Call with Doc. If you're tired of your nutrient line, you're tired, you don't know what the hell you're smoking, I'll tell you what you'll smoke if you use my stuff. Right?
Yep.
So, that's the way and
get a nice little chart and everything that comes with it,
Yeah. And Joe and I did a side by
gives you a breakdown of what's in each of the products. There's 5 different product lines, I guess you could say, that you use, but it's a 5-part kit, maybe.
It's a 5-part kit.
Yeah.
We've got the micros and the macros. We have all the things all the other nutrient lines have in a liquid form, all the other liquid people. But here's the difference. Every single thing we have in our product, every ingredient is either refined to its rawest form, so that you're getting pure everything. So there's no impurities, and I can always show you the difference. I think I got my vial somewhere, but there's definitely a difference in plant food. And so we clean every item, every ingredient to its purest form. Then we add humates and silicates, and we add plant hormones from kelp that's grown organically. So, and Joe did it. He took our newts, he went side by side with just water, his plants. He sent both to the lab. And the one thing he cared about most was, is it clean? And regardless of who had the best terpene profiles and all that, we'll leave that for the judges. But the thing is that all he cared about it was that it came back absolutely clean of
Compliant. Yes. It completely
compliant.
came back completely compliant. And so, yeah, I was really happy about that.
No heavy metals, nothing in there that's synthetically going to hurt you. Came back perfectly clean. No fungicides, no pesticides, no insecticides, none of that nonsense.
And I did have this tested from this had nothing to do with me or Rod. This was we paid them to test our stuff, just like you would do here in Oklahoma, for compliance if you had a business, if you were growing, which I did for 2 years. But so it's all legit too.
I think my slogan for my company should change. If you're not organic, be us.
Right. There you go.
Right. If you're not organic, be us, because we're as close as you can get to it.
Yeah.
In our form, so it came from a farmer. It came from a farmer who's been feeding his own kids with his own crops his whole life. Second generation guy. The wisdom behind our formulation. Once I learned his wisdom and why he did what he did with these nutrients, is absolutely astounding, and that's why it's so successful. I'm still waiting for one grower to go, "Hey, Rod, hey, Doc, I got less harvest, right?" Or the quality was less. Mm-hmm. It's always more terpene, more stronger cannabinoids, higher THC levels. But you don't want the 30s, you want in the 20s. But it just makes great medicine, and I get to sleep at night knowing that I'm helping veterans grow better weed.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so that's what that's all about.
Outstanding. All right, Joe, let's talk about the Misfit side of things.
Pretty simple, man. I just grow weed. And so legitimate, like I was saying, I grew professionally here for 2 years. Had all the facility, had all the knowledge. I quit the professional side because those aren't my people. They're all about the money. I'm about the medicine. I'm about helping. They were about taking your money and making as much as they could off of as little as they could. Mm-hmm. So anyway, my idea is to, with medicine in mind, not only educate by doing little videos with, all the way from plant anatomy, talking about your stalks and your auxiliary branches and your nodes and where you're supposed to do things, right? So knowledge like that, knowledge on how to top, how to defoliate, why you defoliate, parts of the plant that matter, the soil, your roots. Then we can get into cannabinoids and terpenes and all these different things and how they affect the body. I take all that information and I find medicine that works for me, right? Because that's what we do. We grow it, we try it, it works, it continues on. Otherwise, you just go to another thing. So I'm breeding these together to make medicine for other veterans and civilians. I don't care. I just want to help the population. But we're pretty much focused in veterans because that's our community right now. We're trying to expand. But I just want to have good medicine for our veterans so they can start to heal in whatever capacity that may be, whether it's getting off your ass, whether it's sitting down and relaxing, whether it's going to sleep, whether it's eating, whether it's taking away your tension and your pain and your anxiety and depression. These are the things that I focus on. And I don't know not one veteran right now that isn't gonna, that wouldn't help. And so, like Rod says, if not me, well, then who? Let's get out there. Let's talk. Am I always right? Hell no. I'm not a master grower. I'm nothing like that. I'm just the guy willing to get on a camera and tell you what might help you. Take as little or as much as you like. And I think that's what most people appreciate from me. Just trying to do good things and teach you how to do it as well.
Yeah. I think you're just really sharing your knowledge, man. You're taking,
that's it.
What works for you. And you're sharing it, right?
Well,
and that's sometimes what some people aren't good about doing. They want to hide their secrets and things like that.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. Being that I wasn't able to be doc, this allows me to be doc again in a medicinal capacity and a good medicine, right? And to help you heal without medications or without surgeries or anything, right? And so. With that, I still get to do the doc stuff, and and
that makes us a perfect storm, bro.
Yeah, and so with all that, man, I get to, like I said, I get to come on and we do podcasts. I do that with my wife, Lori. We come in here and we just sit here and shoot the shit. If you ask the question, I'll spitball whatever I know of it. I might have to go and read it again because of my brain injuries, but I'll do that, willingly. I'm just about helping, man, and letting people know that they can do it without going to the store and buying something they don't know what it is.
Well, man, it's been a great journey with you guys, and it's going to be exciting to see where the show goes. But I am more than blessed to have come across you guys and to call you guys my bros. But let's go ahead and say our last goodbyes and throw out some words of wisdom. Joe, we'll go ahead and start off with you, man. How do you want to finish this off?
Well, I mean, maybe we'll get a little deep. My words of wisdom for today are for the veterans or individuals out there watching this podcast that think they're lost. It's just they're lost. They don't know where to go. You're not lost. You're on a journey. And that journey, today's a new day in this journey. Of course, you don't know what the hell's going on, but understand and have faith that you're on a journey back to who you really are. So keep fucking moving forward, left foot, right foot, and everything will make sense in time. And that's my wisdom for today.
Outstanding. Thanks, brother. And thank you for your service, and thank you for your continued support and the community of our brothers and sisters and wanting to educate, man. Doc, what about you, brother? Some parting words.
I'll turn the tables on that. Yes, we want veterans that are in a bad spot to come hang out with us, and we'll help you. I want to talk to the veterans who've already finished the battle and they're in a different spot now. For those of you that are in a good place and you traveled a journey to get there, I urge you to reach out to other veterans. If you have not found your way in helping your brothers and sisters yet, find your way. And if you're in a better spot, you should. That's my opinion. You should be helping if you can.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we look for veterans in trouble. But how about the ones of us who aren't in trouble anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Reach out and help a veteran. If you're doing things that are helping veterans, get a hold of us. Come on the show. We'll support you. If you're helping veterans, let us support you help veterans. Jeez,
yeah.
Why wouldn't we?
Right.
We'd be derelict. So come check out Sick with Dog. It's really cool, man.
And it's something else I would like to say, just to kind of finish it off on these two guys' notes is, the last thing that any fellow veteran needs is to be thrown rocks while they're already down or be judged on what they may look at as how they want to heal. Not everybody's going to have the same healing journey or the same path. But the last thing you want to do is tear someone down while they're on that journey and they're trying to do something to help themselves. You may not agree with what they're doing, but as long as it's more on the positive part and it's keeping them on the right track and keeping them from giving into their demons and their, all these bad thoughts that they have in their head. Hey, let's continue to pick up our brothers and sisters and move them along. Encourage them.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulate them. Tell them you're fucking kicking ass. I see you.
Yeah.
Let them know. Don't be afraid to let them know.
Can I add one last thing?
Yep.
The world should know that we've lost at least, I'm going by government numbers, which are, always a lie. 54,000 or so veterans have committed suicide since 2001, since 9/11. 54,000, minimal. In the Vietnam Wall's 58,000. That has to stop, guys.
Yeah.
We can build a wall the size of the wall with suicides alone from Afghanistan and Iraq.
And I've always said, that's just us giving them more numbers, right?
Yeah,
and
they keep winning.
Yeah, we're giving them more numbers by every time we do that. But hey, guys, once again, man, I thank you guys so much, and you guys keep kicking ass. And you know what? I got your back, and I'm always going to be on that backside. Making sure we kind of keep on the right track. But it's been a hell of a journey, and I continue to look forward to going forward. But all right, fellas, thank you guys so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you for
you, bro.
listening in, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
God
Yes.
bless. All right.
All right, friends and family. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up for another great interview. I love those two guys. They like I said, they are doing something amazing. It's groundbreaking, right? There's not a lot of people out there willing to go out there and be vulnerable and talk about these kind of things. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. And we want to make sure that, you know, our brothers and sisters have a pad or something to fall on. We don't want them to fall in the pits where they can't get out of it, right? So, hey, if you've already made it, why don't you be that rope to throw down or that light to flash? You know, let's not throw rocks. Let's continue to help each other out and move to the right way. We were once the fucking baddest ass fighting force in the world. We still are. Let's do it off the field too, right? But hey, you know how we say on the field, how we say on the show, don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.